Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Trenchless Tuesday. If you hadn't noticed on social media, we are making this an entire week of fish baffles. We are highlighting all things about fish baffles, why they're important, what they're used for, different types of fish baffles. And so I really, this Tuesday, it was April 25th, 2023, I am going to be showing a clip of a Reline Live that I did specifically with Shane Scott last year, and it was all about fish baffles. So I'll show you a little clip from that, but please go back, watch the full Reline Live on YouTube. We go over a lot of different scenarios, a lot of great stuff, and keep watching this week. We'll be talking more about fish baffles.
So yeah, I gave you a little bit of background. I can't believe 30 years working on getting fish past things. It's mostly big concrete structures. But like I mentioned, and here more in North America, you're addressing salmonids, salmon, steelhead, trout, fish that are pretty strong swimmers, economically and recreationally important. But you also have some animals that aren't strong swimmers. You have eels on the East Coast, and then work with Kelly down in New Zealand. They have all kinds of really interesting organisms, fish that have legs, and eels, and freshwater shrimp, and a lot of kind of weaker swimming species. So he did a lot of work, Kelly did a lot of work on developing the concept of flexi-baffle, I think over a wider range of flow conditions. But here in the North America, I'm going to focus more on salmonid passage. And the problem is we can get fish past dams, juveniles down, adults up. But once they get past those big superhighways, they go into these smaller tributaries, and this is where a lot of them spawn. So we're spending money trying to recover fish in North America, and we can't get them to the bedrooms, the bedroom communities, through these culverts. So I saw it as it's a very big problem here in the United States. So the issues you have with culverts is it's an artificial stream. I mean, there's no complexity in flows, high water velocities, shallow depth, laminar flow, steep gradient, and that all kind of works together to be a passage barrier. And you could get much more complex with a perched barrier or too steep. So just in general, culverts aren't conducive to fish passage. And when a lot of culverts went in, it was kind of minimum, size them to the minimum needed because of cost. And looking back now, that may have not been the best choice ecologically to maintain flood conveyances and different. But the reality is we have culverts now, and we need to address those impacts. So either you replace the culvert or bridge it. I have some pictures here very interesting, or modify the culvert. And that's where the baffles come in. Well, the different types we'll talk about. So just to give you a magnitude of the issue, here in Washington State, there was a Supreme Court lawsuit lost by the state a few years ago that you need to fix fish passage that supports fish that are shared with the Native American tribes. And the settlement, it's $3.8 billion by 2030 to address about 19,000 barriers. And this is just an example. This is I think where we have more detailed information about fish passage barriers and design in Washington State than probably anywhere in the world because of the Supreme Court finding. So this is just a database of state highway fish barriers that are being addressed by Department of Transportation. And then our Department of Fish and Wildlife has identified over 19,000 barriers in the whole state. This graphic is just Western Washington, Puget Sound Basin, and then the coast. Washington's much larger than this, but this is just an example of the magnitude. So you have city, county, and state-owned highways and roads, and these are the barriers that have identified in just this area. So 19,000 known barriers, and 84% of them are culverts. The state of Washington is spending about, I think it's $30 million a year, designing about 30 projects and installing about 30 projects. And these are characterized and prioritized to get the most bang for the buck, which projects are going to open up the most spawning habitat for Pacific salmon. And so you get some examples of projects, high priority projects that are funded through this program. You see two culverts, one's perched, the other one's failed. And so you remove it and you completely bridge. And this is really the ideal fix. You bridge the active channel plus some width and allow the creek and the creek processes, gravel movement, large woody debris recruitment. You let the creek move on its own within that system. This